In America, they call it soul food, but in Rastafari, we call it idol food. Today, you're getting a belly full of some Bahamian flavored idol food as we continue this journey with Rastafari voices. Ras Brent, you were telling us a little bit earlier about the impact of all different types of music on your journey.
Yeah, well, the greatest influence in my journey was like really reggae outside of my own natural culture, which is Jonkunu and Gombe, that sound, and Merengue, you know, and being influenced by the pop sound too. But nevertheless, we know our real roots, indigenous sound was Jonkunu. At least to me, that's how it was to me. It's like Jonkunu is our thing, and I wanted to know if we could bring this Jonkunu to a level that'll be more palatable for the more international taste, because Jonkunu in its raw form is really a festive sound, really rough and rugged, down in, but if we could transcend the boundaries and make it more palatable, where we could sing melodies on it, you know what I mean, and use it as a platform, like how all the reggae artists sung on their genre called reggae, and if we could do that, then Jonkunu and our Bahamian culture will rise, because I feel that it's really valuable for our people and the youth who coming up to really identify with something that's really of themselves, and but it should be strong, so it's nothing to be taken lightly. You have to really focus and make it what it needs to be.
It's almost like passing a baton, because even the reggae was influenced by music outside of Jamaica, right. But they take that and Jamaicanize that and produce their own sound. Right. And so what it sounds as if you're saying now is your goal would be to Bahamianize this reggae sound, not the identity, but the sound, and combine it with other sounds.
That's basically the approach, but the root of it and the foundation have to be Jonkunu. You know what I mean? It really, you have the rock, and you see the thing we deceive ourselves sometimes with the Jonkunu, because today Jonkunu playing really like fast, like everyone have it race up.
Right.
But as a child, me sitting on my grandfather's shoulders,
tempo was much slower.
That rhythm was. I can tell you how that used to start. It'd be like doom. Doom, 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 until all that music started playing together and really became what it was.
If you listen to Dr. Off,
that's the man. Trust me.
And you compare it to today, you can see that the tempo has increased with the music like a whole lot.
Really, they got really hyped up. But there's no disrespect in them hyping the music. Everyone have a right to do it the way they want to do it, but it's just for us now to say we want to really be able to sing some nice melodies on these songs, because songs need to have a meaning and need to have a feeling. The people have to be able to relate to it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to tell them a story and tell and give and impart knowledge and a way of life through the music. So it have to be in a way where the people really could embrace it and take it in and say, make it food every day to them. Even when they don't hear the music, it still means something to them, and it's going on inside them, because we all have it in us. We just need to identify it, Identify yourself in your own culture, people. That's what I say, And just like Bob identify themselves in their culture, we could do it in our culture too. There ain't no disrespect to that, because trust me, we need that, because that's how we bouncing off of everything. But we have something that is unique to us as Bahamians that we need to capitalize on. Not capitalize on, but just develop and make it what it should be. We all always seem to tend to want to think foreign is better, or someone else's is better. When they looking at you as you got the goal, you have that thing that we're looking for, and because Bahamians don't travel as much as we should, we don't realize that how people appreciate us so much more than we think, because where we come from. Because it was like when I was in the States, in America, like people was like, "What you doing here? You leave paradise to come to this?" Because that's where we are, and we don't realize that we actually living in a paradise. And this paradise have something to offer. The Bahamas is a beautiful place, and we should be using it better. Like, in our music and our way of expression. We kind of like sit down on it. We got to really rise up. Like Dr. Off is on the right track. You know, in my opinion, Dr. Office, him and
Tony McKay.
Tony McKay was on the right path. You know what I mean? And it's so sad that we lost Dr. Off because he would have definitely elevate this sound, you know, because he was there, you know, and that's what's going on. We just need to pick up the baton, like you said earlier, pick up the baton and carry it on, because our race ain't finished yet, because actually our race just beginning, you know what I mean? We've been doing this work for a long time, and we're trying our best to get it to a perfection, and everyone could take advantage of it, because it's just another rhythm for the singers to sing the psalms, you know. That's what's going on. All we have to do is produce the sound and give it to the people, let them sing on it, and see where God take us on this journey, man.
And the world is actually looking, the music industry is actually looking for new sounds now.
Well, that's a constant.
Right.
Everyone looking for a new something, you know what I mean? And this is something old. They didn't really know it is old. It's just how we can handle it, how we can make it serve the purpose, you know, for us to transcend the melodies and the messages to the people. And it's all about the melodies too. And all y'all artists out there who are doing things, remember, this is more so than the lyrics. It is the melody. The melody is what's really carry the song, you know. So get your melodies right, on the right rhythms like these. Like I'm saying, just get some Bohemian up in there, you know, some Junkanoo, and you can mix it up with some reggae and whatever. But just get your culture out there, you know. Represent yourself, you know. Identify yourself from where your roots come from, you know. Because there's some part of Africa, I telling you, this is my meditation. There's some part of Africa where Bahamians come from, you know what I mean? And just a section there, and I tell you, wherever that is, I believe they used to play Junkanoo there, and that's how we play Junkanoo in Bahamas right now.
You realize how many Congo towns there are throughout the whole Bahamas? There's a Congo town in a number of islands throughout the Bahamas. So that gives us some idea.
Mostly from the Congo.
You know, at least some of us, because the Bahamas was one of the places after the slave trade ended for the English, but the Spanish and the French were still conducting the trade. If the British saw a slaver ship, they would go and conquer that, and the Bahamas is one of the places that they would bring them as freed people. Adelaide is one of those communities. The whole of Carmichael, the Gambia is another one of those communities, because in that time, it wasn't these roads that we have now. Those would have been like far off settlements with ponds and all sorts of things. It would have been a rugged terrain to get to travel. So they dropped them off. They're kind of separate from society.
You mean from Nassau?
From Nassau, but the will and persistence of the African spirit within us allowed those villages to flourish even to today without help, you know. And it's that same spirit that I hear from you talking. That spirit of survival, taking what we have as within our culture and pushing it out there, and not being ashamed of it, you know, and not trying to shape it into anything else. But as we move on, Benji, give us some feedback on the Jalav band that has been mentioned quite a bit here.
Yeah, the Jalav band, that came about when I came back home from Montreal. I was in college up there in Montreal. While up there, I did a stint with a band, and then I actually formed a band up there called the Sila, and with some other Caribbean students, Jamaican, Trinidadian, Guyanese, and we were pretty popular up there at that time. When I left Montreal, came back home, I had the intention of continuing my music program, because this was the vehicle I was going to use now to deal with the Rastafari situation in the country. Upliftment of the community. So right then, I had only my keyboards. I played pianos. I had my Rhodes piano, and me and Brent, Brent, I know Brent, me and Brent grew up together. Right here in this yard here. Right where the studio is. And he, like he mentioned, he was a DJ in Grand Bahama and also a big DJ. And we didn't have any sound equipment. He volunteered his PA system and speakers, his sound system. And he became our engineer. And after that deal, he wrote the note. You know, we started doing community gigs. I went and I booked every park on the island with the ministry. I got a letter in advance and I booked dates in advance to have use of every park in Nassau. And we would take the band and go to the people with
You know, Nassau need that right now more than ever.
I don't worry. I ready again. My strength is now renewed like the eagle. You see. This ain't no coincidence. I tell you, he kick off the Jalove band. You see, he get that fire burning, he get that wheel rolling, and he here now. This was not planned for us to even be here. You know, I happened to come and hear them today, you see. And so Jah moving in all things, like he always said, just trust Jah movements, you know. But when we went to the parks, we would teach the people about Rastafari. We would have fruits, food, clothing, craft, culture, and of course music. When the band take a break, we have the DJ play music. At that time, all our music was like original music and culture music. We was trying to keep things clean, and but it was reggae. Yeah, we come back to this again. We always got, but you all Bahamians, why you all playing reggae?
Yeah.
I had an uncle who told me, said, man, you could make it big, you know, but play what you doing there in Bahamian music, man. And I kept thinking about it, I thought about it, and all the reggae I played, from Canada to Nassau, all around, the first record I recorded and put out on the radio was Bahamian.
Reggae African, no?
Reggae African, what I call it. A combination of Chunkanu with a reggae flavor, but African, that's why I call it African, more like African beat, you know, and it did well. We pressed 500 copies, and all sold except for what we kept personally, every copy. And people to this day still requesting a copy of that. You see? So I agree. See, reggae was used by all Rastas in the beginning because it was a big vehicle, a big, quick way to get exposure, to be...
It already had a foundation set.
And then there was no technology like they have now that could expose other people. But now with the technology we got today, social media and all that, the playing field is level. So now you could do your music just like the Jamaicans do their reggae. You could do your own music now, expressing your culture, because that's what all the Jamaicans doing is everything they sing about and you hear them, see them do on stage. You see that right in Jamaica every day. And that's what we need to do. Sing and perform what we do here in the Bahamas. how we eat, how we drink, how we talk, how we walk, how we dance, all that. You incorporate that in your in the music and in your CDs or in the DVDs and stuff like that, the videos, you know, so people can really see the culture while they're hearing the music. And that's where I see reggae got so strong with that, you know. And to reach the world, you had to be on a big stage. We couldn't stay in Nassau and hope John Canoe could take our message. We had to use something else. But now John Canoe, Bahamian music could take it, because everybody now using, like I say, social media and other avenues to reach the masses, the wider musical environment, you see.
What was some of the places where y'all have played?
Just before Justice, we were up in Philadelphia.
So y'all international?
Yeah.
Man, y'all saying that soft, man. Say that loud, y'all international.
We played at, I don't know, did you play at Penn's Landing?
No, I can't say we did.
Penn's Landing is a port where they docked 3 slave ships. They still there now. And we played on the stage was set up on one of them called the Barney Gap.
And this is in Philadelphia?
In Philadelphia, yeah, on the wharf, yeah. And they had a big concert there. And Ministry of Tourism actually promoted that for us.
Hold on, wait. We can't gloss that over. We can come back to that. You trying to tell me, because everybody else talk about the fight that Rasta was getting, but you was able to have the Ministry of Tourism send you off
to Penn's Landing to play in Philadelphia, because the promoters who were doing that sent a letter to Jalab Band asking us to come over.
Okay.
And we took that letter to the Ministry of Tourism, showing them where we could expose the Bahamas. We could give the Bahamas some exposure, and they agreed.
All right.
So
that's an achievement.
That's
an
achievement.
Yeah.
You know.
I didn't know that.
And then we played at Temple University. We played on a couple. Well, you know, we community bands, so we played in the street. We set up in the street just like Nassau in Philadelphia, Diamond Street. They had this festival.
Y'all did what bands do to survive.
Festival of Light. They had was a festival they had there. We played that. That was a street festival, you know. Then we went to the University of Delaware. Watch this. That one song I told you we recorded. We opened up our session with that Reggae Africano, and that's the only song we played until now. That's the only song they ever heard us play in the University of Delaware. We were not allowed to stop playing it. Every time we end the song, they say, no, play it again, more. That same song. They never heard us play another song.
Let me ask you something. I can put you on the spot a little bit. You could sing me a piece of that for us. Even if it's just a little piece.
Voice little hoarse, but dun 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 dun. Reggae new, reggae African new, Jonka new, reggae too. What you gonna do? I say, people in this world, you better start dancing to this reggae African beat. 'Cause when this nation of ours come up rising, you better scatter and move your feet with an ancient descent and prophets of old. prophets of old. I say we ain't gonna stop till this message been heard all over the world.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, thanks for that, man.
My
Thanks for
lord,
that.
my lord.
Give the mic to Iras because Iras, you first mentioned Wade and Ducks.
Yes.
And as a young Ras, I could remember before we had all of these different radio stations, it was just ZNS.
Right.
And on Saturday, every Saturday, my mother would go downtown to pick up my grandmother from the straw market.
Right.
And when we was taking her home, it would be right before the news would come on. You would hear the show Entertainment Jam.
Yes.
That's what I know of Ducks and Wade. You know, could you give us some more insight on how they impacted the music industry here locally, especially like insight about that show?
Well, I could tell you, Ducks and Wade, these were the promoters of many shows. Most of the reggae artists that came to the Bahamas, they came through Ducks and Wade, you know. And I know that most of the shows that I've been on stage, it wasn't for Ducks and Wade, and we wouldn't have been there. And I'm sure same for Benji and same for Brent.
Yeah, they were always instrumental in us being out there now.
I was part of the production team.
Right, promoting Bahamian artists.
I was the
All right, Brent, Benji was a
the
part
joint
of
chief of staff, they used to
Okay.
call me.
Right, the joint chief of staff. Okay, so
Far Right Production.
so these guys were right. Far Right Production. That was their production name. Far Right Production.
Lion Power.
Yes, and I can tell you they promoted many bands. They had a band called the Far Right Troopers with Jading on the drums and Kendall Cryer. And the most money I ever made on stage was with those guys. You know, he saw, Papa Wade saw me as an artist and he respected me. And that's one thing, he respected his Bahamian artists. Like, I'm sure all of you can say that.
Yeah, I can vote for that.
You know, my brethren, Rochi, known as Clinton Houghton, the guy who gave me Bone Wine after wine, because they used to come to Freeport, like I said, and they had an apartment where they used to settle at, and we'll go there and sit down and talk, and you know, we smoke, and that was the first time I really felt a good high. I can tell you the truth. I never got high in my life.
Tell them about the Nassau Free
But-
Clash. Would be yourself.
Well, it was. Well, I guess you could give more insight on that, you know. But
Hold on. We're coming back to you for that. So think
Okay.
about that while he's saying this.
but Rochi was my inspiration when it came, to writing songs. And Rochi and I, we started off in school together, DJing like Michigan and Smiley, and Mikey and David Hoyt, those two brothers, we all came together and we formed a band called Explosive Stars, which Rochi was a part of for a short while. And Papa Wade and Jadux, they used to come over and be inspired by what we was doing also. So, you know, they even help out us as a band in those times before we even became Rastafarians. You know what I mean? So I
They
guess,
were totally about the music, not
Yes.
just about Rastafari.
Right. And I guess they could see where this all was going, you know.
Right.
Because Rochi and I, we were still in school when we was around Papa Wade and them. And eventually we all became, you know, we all started to look alike with locks. You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right. So they were instrumental in helping develop other bands and creating opportunities. What allowed them to do that, if you know anybody? Did they have like some sort of special gift where they talk so good? What was it about them that allowed them to create these opportunities?
Well, I could say they had good connection.
Yeah.
They was well traveled, and they had connection, good connection. That's all I can say. They had the connections, all the connections you needed. They
Okay.
had all over Miami. They would bring in a lot of artists. In fact, the first time, man, let me talk about some Bahamian artists I know. The first time I've been to a show that they had in Freeport, that's when I saw Wayne Carey. And I didn't know he was a Bahamian because the way he hold that mic and did his thing, man, I was mesmerized. I was like, wow, you know, he grabbing and he performing and so forth. And I said, you know, I gotta carry on like that if I can make an impact. So Wayne Carey, my good brethren, was a good inspiration to I also. You know, Rochi say, watch the dude right there, you know, we gotta be carrying on like that. And I'm not sure if you came to Freeport at that time.
I was there.
You was there?
Yeah.
Chabenji? Yeah, man. So that was a great show, and I was a youth at the time. I didn't even have, you know, I didn't even know I was gonna be a Rastafarian at the time.
That was one of the Freeport Nassau clash.
All right.
Papa Wade took a group of us from here to meet the clash with the Freeport crew. Rochi and Rochi was,
I didn't even know.
Rochi was their big draw.
Yeah.
He destroyed them on them from Nassau. I can tell you
Yeah,
about
Rochi.
that. You know him and Bendigo. But Pop Wayne saved us. Wayne
Yeah.
Carey.
Yeah.
Principal. Yeah, he had it down tight.
represent.
Yeah, he represent. He represent.
I tell you.
That's true. I didn't perform because I went over there helping with the promotion. Yeah, yeah. But
So
That's
who else was among the Nassau performers? Wayne Carey, who else?
Wayne Carey,
If you can remember.
Ducks, Papa Wade himself. Who else he carried? Bobo Mikey. Mikey
Okay.
Brad from One to Lights.
We'll be talking with him too.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while.
And when was this clash? Like around the 80s, 90s?
80s.
In the 80s.
Early. Yeah, because Papa been gone a while.
Say about 85, 84, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about 1985, 1984. Because I remember I was still in school at the time, you know what I mean? I graduated in 86. And that was about 2 years before I graduated, yeah.
I know you are also skilled on the drums, but I'd like to talk about some of your musical exploits. Benji blessed us with a little piece of something that he did. Do you have any songs that you have produced out there?
Yeah, well, you know, songs that I didn't sing, like Mama Don't Want No Raking and Scraping in Here, I wrote that and produced it for the Lacido Boys, along with Maitland Thompson. Stop That Mailboat, Taking It Higher, Rake and Scrape. Well, Stop That Mailboat, the Brylanders did that one. Taking It Higher for Elon Moxie. And another one called Rake and Scrape, which was supposed to be the follow-up for Mama Don't Want No Raking and Scraping in Here, but they let somebody else sing it, so. But it was a good Rake and Scrape song also.
So you participate in writing all of these songs?
Yeah, I wrote and produced those songs. And in the early days, I did a song with Christian Penn called Fate Open Love, which was, you know, we did a music video, and that was big in Nassau.
I was just about to say that's one of my early memories too, from before trotting.
Right.
My same, it's interesting because I used to be by my great-grandmother's house.
Right.
And that used to be playing on ZNS television.
Right.
Yeah, and I had no connection to you or anything like that then, but I remember the song, and then years later, when I saw the video again, I say, oh, Rastafari, that's my brethren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, later, okay. Yeah, you see, so, and, yeah, man, a few more, Michael Hoyt, David and I, we had a band named Rhythm Revolution, and we did a song named The Rasta Man, which Benji had a lot of, you know, influence in, you know, he helped us out a lot. We even did a music video, which, and if it wasn't for Benji, we wouldn't get that done either, because he took us all around, and we did it right in your yard too. You know, we did it in Benji's yard, and that was a big video. They used to play it internationally, you know, people all over the world were saying that one the Rastaman video, and it was inspiration for a lot of the fellas in prison, because they say when they was in prison, they would play that video and that gave them a lot of comfort. You know what I mean? Somehow they used to play music videos in prison. I don't know.
In the mess hall, I'm sure they got a TV.
Okay, so so
Jah works, man.
yeah, man, Jah works. So then afterwards, Michael Hoyt and David Hoyt, everybody went on to other bands, but we all still get together, and again through Brent, because Brent had a band, and Mikey and Dave just Mikey used to play with your band, right?
Maybe.
And so there we go. We used to come here. I used to come right here at the studio and have a lot of songs in the archives. A lot of songs in Brent archives, So, it's plenty more works to be done, and plenty works going on right now.
And that's even connected to me, because even I being in the yard, I mean, not for recording, but
Right.
through the connection with Mikey and Brent. When Mikey come to town and he want to have a little drumming session, this would definitely be one of the places where that would happen, and it was a safe place, and it was just always pure vibes,
In fact, even birthdays, if it's Brent's birthday, or because Eichel and I, we born like a day after the other. I born February the 7th, he's February the 8th, and we usually come right here and celebrate because of the environment and the friendship and the love and the vibes. You know what I mean? Yes, indeed. So like you say, this is the drumming yard. This is the drumming yard. And I seen you here enough times.
Yeah, and so it's like passing the baton, using what we said before, Everything is just connected and coming full circle.
Right.
It reminds me of a concept, South African concept called Ubuntu, which simply means I am because we are.
Right.
I mean that there's nothing that captures what has been happening with Detroit and Rastafari better than that term. All of us are because of what individuals would have done.
Right.
I as a youth, growing up in Cable Beach,
Right.
Benji them yard was the yard that I was in,
Right.
and I mean I was going to sock and going to church every week. The last thing my parents would have expected, was for me to trot Farai. But just the exposure, to what was going on, and it wasn't like it was something that was negative. You're just saying about who these people are and how they surviving, what they about, and so it light a spark that continue, and that same spark affected Brent. The same spark affected you, and then you all were able to pour into me also, for me to be able to be where I am. Because one of the things that I often like to talk about is that I don't wear a tam or a turban, like many people, but I also appreciate that there were those who came before me who paid the price for me to be able to do this.
Right.
And so everything that I do is to try and honor them. If I'm speaking somewhere and an elder Rastafari is there, I always try to make sure people acknowledge them, because if y'all didn't go through what y'all went through, I couldn't be here, and so then I even want to say thanks, for that validation that you would have offered, and the assistance in helping the community grow and be what it is to this day, Yeah. So, what do you all see as the future of the movement in the Bahamas?
The movement, when you say movement, what do you mean?
The Rastafari movement. I know from reasoning with you, you would have mentioned a theory, the Jabal's theory.
That's the kind of deep to go into that.
How do you see that theory playing out within the future development of Rastafari in the Bahamas? Well, first give us a little insight into the theory and then talk about how you
That's
see that.
deep, man. That's deep. That's deep. Well, it's just what the Father's purpose is, and what he, like when you sit down and you say, what is man that God is so mindful of him? Do you understand that statement? That's some really profound words. What is man that God is so mindful of him? It shows me that like we are very, very important to the Most High. And he values us greatly, and we're not just here for our benefit, but for his. And we have to fulfill this chart, and this chart is the chart of righteousness. The chart of building righteousness and for designated purpose, because it's like, man, it's kind of deep to go into it right now because it's going to take a while, but long story short, like the Father really wants us to strengthen one another, practice righteousness in all the choices that we make each and every moment in time. That is because it ain't about the big choices, it's all about the little, the tiny choices that we make each day, or refraining from making some choices, because there's a consequence to everything that we do. There's a consequence, and we might as well make it a plus rather than a negative in our lives, because then we help fulfill the Father's plan, not our plan, because our plan is insignificant in comparison to the Father's plan, because he has such a great reward for I and I, such a great reward for I and I, so I could really and truly and honestly live continually, never perish, what I mean? We'll never see death. We could conquer death only through our righteousness. And the more righteousness we build in each and every moment, the sooner the Father can receive what he needs to give us this eternal life that he promised us. Not that we need, that he promised us. He said, look at it, this is for you if you abide in me. You know what I mean? If you abide in the truth that I have for you and behave as I would deem you to do, you will reach the reward, the highest reward, which is eternal life, to be likened unto the Most High each and every moment for the rest of your existence until eternity. But we have to today not to forsake that truth, because it's simple and it's only a matter of, it's only yes or no. It's all good or bad, and it's happening to us each and every moment, every time we move and think. That's going on inside our souls. And for every thought and every righteous deed that we do, there's a reward, and the reward is for the Most High, for the Creator, because he wants that righteousness, and that righteousness represents his bride, you see, and his bride must come forward. And when his bride has come forward, then and this is the deepest part, when she is awakened, when the bride is awakened, then all realities cease to exist. It cease to exist, meaning that all will be called before the Most High. All will be called before the Most High. And I say, where will we all be called before the Most High? We'll be called into the Gulf, something called the Gulf. And we say, what is the Gulf? And in the vision show me say the Gulf. The Gulf is the testicles of the Most High. And I say, wow, that's deep. Why? You mean after all mankind existence, and at this very moment, he's going to call all souls unto himself, meaning the living and the dead will be called unto him. And they will all go into the Gulf. And in the Gulf, all men will see and know each other clearly. There will be no hiding, because our aura will speak for itself. And when we're there, we are waiting a moment, and the moment is the conception between the Most High and his bride, you see. And when the bride is ready, and he takes her to wed, he will consummate the marriage. And when he consummates the marriage, he can pass our souls, our seeds into her. And only those who are worthy can see the good and the bad going in there, because he's not partial. He can give every soul the opportunity, but only according to our life and our choices we can pass through. Because if we live dirty, we can be dirty. You understand me? Or we can't pass through when it's time to pass through. We got to be clean. We got to be pure. We got to. Sometimes people think more is greater, but less is best. You understand me? We be lighter in our thought. And when I say lighter in our thought, I talk about lighter in our conscious deeds and the things that plague our souls and make us heavy. We could travel lighter. The less crime, the less wrong we do in our lives, the more righteous we do in our lives, the more faster we can move at light speed. But when we live in dirty, be heavy, we dragging, we can't move through like we want, you know. So when we in the gulf and he passes through to the bride only she can recognize those who contributed to her true existence, because she is the product of our righteousness, you see. And when our righteousness inside her, she is like our DNA inside of she. So when we are inside her, conceptually and spiritually, when we inside the womb of the bride of God, she will not reject us. But there are some who going to be inside the womb, and they will be rejected. Be just like a natural woman today, who anything negative or foreign to her, she gonna reject that out of her, and these souls will be rejected out of her. And this is what we come to the concept of death. What death is. See that we being passed now into the sea of forgetfulness now, being and never be, and those souls will be as if souls that were never ever born, that never ever existed. No one will miss them. No one will even have a consciousness that that soul is ever there, even if that was your father, you know. We'll go on to our father before that father, you know what I mean, attachment wise, you know. But only the righteousness can stand in there, and when the righteousness are in there, we will be at that time, when and in time we will be born sons and daughters of the Most High ever living, you see. And we'll never die, because we'll be gods in that spiritual. And this is where we have to conscious of ourselves in the flesh today, because we have to live as gods today, now, so we can live as the Godheads when our flesh perish, because we all have to understand that the flesh will perish in time, but the spirit will live on forever. But we want to ensure that our spirit live continually by working righteousness in the time that we are given, which is this flesh life, what we are given. This is our opportunity. All things will happen to all souls here. And that's how we become gods, in the truest sense of the gods. And we'll be just like our Father, our ever-living Creator. And the only thing we'll have to do is create, and not destroy, because our souls will be purged of all our wrongness by the righteousness that we practice inside this life. Because we ain't practicing no folly. And that's why we got to watch how we living, and how we thinking, and how we eating, and how we behaving with one to the other. And be very cautious and conscientious about our pride, because our pride is like an anchor holding us down in this reality. And we got to forsake our pride and embrace our humility. Serious talk. And the same thing applies in everything that we do, just like in the music, just like we can't just hold on to something that we know ain't really the thing, but we can hold on to the thing that we have, which is, you know, just keeping it real. You know, just being real, and in the lowest form, because the lower we can get is the higher we can get. We cannot jump up high if we don't bend our knees and before we jump. You understand me? We can stand up straight and we'll never ever be able to jump over the fence. We have to get low. You understand me? So we get to be in a position to have power. Until we get low, we have no power. We have to humble ourselves, and then we can leap forward. You know? And that's a reality that we all have to conceptualize in our minds and our souls, and know that's what have to go on. Just like these moments here now, you know, like these are humbling moments for me. You know, I had no concept that this would ever transpire tonight, to be here and share these moments with them. But that's how Josh said it. So just humbling that, you know, humbling it, and just be real. Don't change up yourself to you know, to impress, but just to be real, so reality can pass on one to the one. And like how you say, these cameras and things, these technologies can transcend us out from where we need to go, you know. And for the youth who coming up behind us, because these being documented, people one day gonna ask, what are you talking about, this job always theory, man? Be you know, I can get deep one day, because I never anticipated that I would ever be a part of this conversation here tonight, you know. And it really merits a lot more concentration, not as brief as I brought it to us just now, you know, because it's really deep and it goes far.
So,
you know?
So you're saying we gotta have a follow-up interview?
Yeah.
Well, that'll be up to the man then, but you know, like, I would take the opportunity to do it. Really, I would, because I always wanted it to be documented, so it could be there for time and time to come forward, you know, because it's something that was shared to me, and I like to share it to others too, you know, through job.
But I'd just like to thank all three of the IM for blocking out the time and sharing your stories here with me. and even with the wider community. So you've gotten your appetizer, you've gotten your main dish, and at the end, you even got a dessert. I hope now that your belly is full and you continue to tune in with us and go on this journey into Rastafari in the Bahamas.
All right.
Bless it.
Bless it, Lord.